Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video, I continue to build the Eagle Moss Willys NB Jeep. That's the World War II Jeep. I am on pack number 6, stages 19 through 22. Now in these stages we start working on the rear axle, the springs, and the shocks. Now, it's a lot of fun building this, and it's a pretty simplified stage as we go along, or the pack itself. So enjoy yourself, but remember, if you haven't done so already, head over to Eagle Moss and subscribe to this Jeep today. Let them know that you enjoy my channel and I sent you there, okay? So let Eagle Moss know that you're watching my videos and you want to build along with me. So with that, let's get started. Welcome back. We'll begin the first stage for pack 6, and that's stage 19. So for stage 19, we're going to be installing one of the leaf springs on the rear of the chassis, and these are all the parts that are included. And you can see here we install the spring supports, or the spring hangers as I like to call them, and one of the C-hinges. And just a few steps involved there. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. And here's the parts for stage 19. We've got a spring in there and the spring hangers and some screws. So let me take these out and I'll be right back. And here's those parts. Everything here is metal, so here's our spring. Very detailed there. I think it's very cool that most of the parts so far for this build have been metal, and you know, it just shows the quality of this kit. So we have the spring hangers here, the C hinge, and one of the brackets there for that, FM and GM screws. So the first thing we do is we install these hangers. Now we have 2 hangers here, and this is the back of the Jeep right here with the bumpers there installed, and the hanger, this shaped here, installs on the back, and then the other hanger installs towards the middle of the chassis on the other end. Now I pre-lubricated these holes already with some Vaseline. It just makes the screws go in a lot easier. So I'm going to locate that there on top. We put in 2 FM screws. And put in the second one here, then I'll tighten them down. And just to make sure that they're all tight, that's good. We'll do the other one. And it simply goes down on top just like that. Same thing, FM screws go into that. There we go. One more FM screw. Definitely the Vaseline helps out with tightening them down. Next, we go ahead and put in our C-clamp Are they called the C hinge itself? And you can see there's a long side and a short side to this. And go ahead and lubricate this. It makes it easier to put the screws in. And I'll install this just like that. And we have this hanger here, the spring hinge itself, and that's going to go down just like that. And we have the shorter side versus the longer, a little bit longer on that end. FM screw goes into this also. And just get it started here. Next we take our spring itself, and you'll see we have a large end opening here on this side and a small one on that side. The large one will go through this just like that, and we'll put our bracket, screw our bracket to it. Going through that the other hinge bracket, and tighten it down. Looks good there. Then we'll go to the other side here, and we're going to insert the, go to the other side here, we're going to insert this into the hanger, just like that. Our longer GM screw goes into that. Put a little Vaseline on it to help it along. Screw it all the way down. And there we go. And that's all we do for stage 19. Pretty easy to do. I enjoyed that very much. Stay tuned for stage 20 coming next. And welcome back. Let's do stage 20. So for stage 20, we're going to do the spring on the rear side for the other side that we just completed on stage 19. Here's all the parts that are associated with that. Very similar assembly. Same thing, we're going to do the hangers, we're going to do the C-hinge, and then hang the spring. So let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 20, and just like 19, we have similar parts located in here. Let me take these out and I'll be right back. Here's a close-up of those parts. These are all metal. Here's our spring, just like on 19. Very nice there. Our spring hangers, front and back, and the C-clip itself, C-hinge, FM, and GM screws. So just like 19, we're going to install these hangers first, and we're going to install this one here on the very back end, just like we did before. FM screws go into this. And that's nice and tight. Then we'll put our other hanger in further back. 2 FM screws go into this. Next, our C-hinge goes into this, and just as before, we have a long side, short side. The long side goes through the hanger, just like that. And that's gonna go in like that into the C-hinge. Next, we'll take our spring, larger hole on this side, smaller one in the back, and insert that into the C-hinge. Still using the FM screw. Run that up to the top and screw that in. That looks good there. And we'll install the back of the spring, put some grease on the hole there. This will be a longer GM screw. And go in all the way. That's good there. And that's all we do for stage 20. Looks great. Stay tuned for stage 21. Welcome back. Let's look at the build instructions for stage 21. Stage 21, we're going to install the rear axle. And we received the rear axle itself and the rear clip plates, and not much really going on here. Should be pretty easy to do. Here are the steps. We'll be using NM screws for this. Let me get the parts and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 21, and there's our axle and the plates. I'll take these out, we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. Here's our axle. And you can see there's a little bit of a difference between the sides here. It's all made of metal. And here's our plates, and you can see both sides of those. Those are metal and M screws. So first thing we do, we're going to mount our axle, and it's actually going to go underneath the springs here, or mounted right on top of the springs, depending on how you want to look at it. And we need to get our plates themselves, our rear clip plates they call them, and this is the back end of the Jeep right here. So these need to face the back end, this loop here. So we're going to put that right there on top, and a real long NM screw goes into this. I'm going to feed it through the hole. Just like that, and hold my axle underneath and screw it down. I'm going to leave it a little loose so I can do the other side. Same thing, just like that. And I lubricated everything here. And here's my long screw. I lubricated everything. Feed it through. and start the threads on this side and just tighten everything down. The NM screws are pretty long. And that's good there. That's tight. And that's tight. And that's how that looks there. And you can see this bracket here is more towards the right hand side of the Jeep to your left. And that's all we do for stage 21. Stay tuned for the final stage, which is stage 22. Welcome back. Let's look at the final stage for pack 6, and that's stage 22. And for stage 22 we're going to install the shock absorbers, and you can see all the parts that are associated with that. Just a few steps involved here. We install the casings, the springs, and then the rods themselves. And we'll be using some FM and PM screws for that. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts pack for stage 22. And we take these out and we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts, and these are our shock assembly. Everything is made of metal here. Springs are pretty cool. FM and PM screws. The first thing we do is we install a shock absorber casing, and that mounts right here. And with the casing, you'll notice that it has a large hole and a small hole. The small hole goes up against the frame. We're going to put a PM screw into this, so it needs just like that. And just like that. Next we take our spring and we put that into the shock absorber, and then we put our shaft, the rod itself, and same thing, you want to make sure that this flat edge on top is up against the mount. FM screw goes into that. That's good there. That's tight. Do the same on the other side. You can see it moves. Put the PM screw through this. Kind of has the feed through it. Here we go. Right there. Put our spring into it. Put this upper edge up against the spring like that. Put it in and line up the hole. That's good there. Everything moves. And that completes stage 22. Had a lot of fun installing our springs and axle for the back end of the Jeep. So stay tuned for pack 7. We'll still be working on this axle assembly. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for all video upload notifications. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.